Okay, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to explore a really powerful idea: how to actually master our inner world. And our guide for this journey is Nadia Maiya, with the insights coming from her work, especially her book, Var Ol.
So let's start with the question I think we've all faced. Someone you love, someone you really care about, does something that just hurts. You feel that sharp sting of sadness or anger or betrayal. So, what do you do in that moment? That's what we're going to unpack today.
And this is the core idea from Nadia Maiya that offers a totally different path. It's the philosophy that, look, we can't control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond. True power isn't about trying to manage the world out there. It's about mastering the world in here.
So you might be wondering, where does a powerful philosophy like that even come from? Well, for Nadia Maiya, it wasn't cooked up in a classroom or a library. Nope. It was forged in a childhood that was, well, pretty extraordinary.
Get this, at just 1.5, Nadia got meningitis. It was so severe she had a brain hemorrhage. The doctors gave her mother this devastating prognosis, basically saying, give up on her. But her mother, she absolutely refused. She took Nadia home and started looking for another way, which led her to something pretty radical: cold water therapy.
And this wasn't just some weekend thing. This became their entire life. I mean, can you imagine daily rituals with buckets of cold water in a public park in the middle of a Ukrainian winter? Their home had no chemical cleaners, no perfumes. Their life was this incredibly disciplined mix of a vegetarian diet, sports, fasting, and reading the classics.
And that's the key point, right? When Nadia talks about mastering your inner state, it's coming from a place of real, lived experience. This wasn't some kind of wellness fad for her family. This was their path to staying healthy. It was their path to survival.
So that incredible foundation led to a really practical framework for handling our emotions. Now, let's get into the good stuff. Her 5 actionable steps for developing what she calls emotional intelligence.
First off, what even is emotional intelligence? Well, it's actually pretty simple. It's just the skill of being able to recognize what you're feeling, understand what those feelings are trying to tell you, and then manage them, instead of letting them manage you.
Okay, let's break this down. Step 1 is to notice. This is just about pausing and admitting to yourself what you're feeling, without any judgment. Okay, I'm feeling angry, or jealous, or sad. Just name it. Step 2, own it. Now, this is a huge shift. Instead of blaming someone, you made me angry, you take the power back by saying, I am angry. It's your feeling. Step 3 is to understand the need. Your emotions are basically messengers carrying data. So you ask, what is this anger telling me? Maybe it's telling you that a boundary was crossed. What is this sadness pointing to? Maybe it's a loss you need to grieve. Step 4 is to express. Once you know the need, you can communicate it. This isn't about yelling, it's about clearly stating something like, when you do that, I feel disrespected. I need you to speak to me differently. And finally, step 5, transform. This is where you make a conscious choice. You've gotten the message from the emotion, so it doesn't need to scream at you anymore. Now you can choose to shift your state, maybe take a few deep breaths, go for a walk, or just focus on something you're grateful for.
Now that 5th step, transform, is so important, it really needs its own spotlight. Because this isn't about just ignoring your feelings or making them go away. It's something much, much deeper. And this quote just nails the difference. So many of us are taught to just push down the uncomfortable feelings, right? Just suppress them. But the goal here is the total opposite. You acknowledge it, you listen to it, and then you actively work to transform its energy.
The end game is all about finding that inner balance, that harmony. It's really understanding that while you can't always control the storms raging outside, you absolutely have the power to cultivate peace and choose your own weather inside.
Let's put this side by side because it makes it so clear. When you suppress an emotion, you just push it down. It gets ignored, and it just kind of festers inside, right? It ends up controlling you from the shadows, and that's where resentment builds. But when you transform an emotion, it's a completely different story. It's acknowledged, it's understood, you use it as information, you consciously shift its energy, and that doesn't lead to resentment, it leads to empowerment.
So all of this brings us right back to where we started. It comes back to that central question of who is actually in charge of your life and your happiness.
The biggest takeaway here is this: real power, real freedom, isn't about trying to control every single person and event around you. It's about building that unshakable inner strength to choose your own response no matter what happens.
We end right back where we began.
But now, this isn't just a catchy phrase, is it? After seeing where this idea comes from a life-threatening illness, a radical upbringing, and a practical 5-step plan, you can feel that this is a deep, actionable truth. Your inner world really does create your outer reality.
And so there's only one question left, and it's for you. Knowing that this power is right there, within your reach, what's the first step you're going to take? What's one small choice you can make today to begin ruling your own inner world?